call to order the April 7th, 2026 meeting of the North Andover Planning Board. For sake of ease, I'm going to call roll. Sean? Here. John?
Here.
Eitan? I'm here. Peter?
Aye.
Kate?
Here.
Everyone's here. Wonderful. Jean, are you there? Can you hear us?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, wonderful. All right. At some point, we may be able to see you, but we don't see you yet. But okay, we have called roll, and we are going to move into our continued public hearing. 200 Bridle Path, Ryan and Alyssa Heffernan. They've asked to continue that until April 28th, 2026. Can I get a motion to continue until April 28th, 2026?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, continued. New public hearing, 44 to 46 Baldwin, David Webster, Joanna Webster, and Joseph Cambria. Jean, can you introduce this, please?
Sure. So the principal dwelling is a two-family dwelling. The applicant did not provide a floor plan showing the existing gross floor area in the primary dwelling. I've included the property card in the meeting packet, which indicates approximately 4,224 square feet of gross floor area. I've also included the bylaw definition for gross floor area for your review. The zoning enforcement officer has confirmed that the application is subject to Mass General Law 48, Section 3. The applicant was previously granted a 9.9-foot setback variance from the Zoning Board of Appeals in January of 2026. That decision has been recorded. Department review by Conservation, Police Department, Fire Department, each of which did not have any concerns. There was several back and forth with the DPW water sewer manager, and today a revised plan was received, and it's included in your packet, that does satisfy his requirements for the utilities for water and sewer. And the building department has just cautioned that the basement cannot be finished in the future and that the ceiling height must be less than 72 inches so that the space cannot be used as habitable space per code, because the proposed ADU is exactly 900 square feet. A butter comment was received the other day, and that hopefully the applicant can speak to that. So that abutter resides at 46 Baldwin, which I have as one of the addresses of the two-family. Again, I have the applicant living at 44 and owns both units from what I can tell. However, the abutter at 46 has indicated she feels the area is too small and that the ADU would be too close to her residence. So we hopefully can get a little bit of clarification there. And a draft decision has been prepared for your consideration tonight if you'd like.
Okay, but we're moving forward under our Dover limited site plan review, correct?
Correct. And Article 14, which is the ADU bylaw itself.
Right, and based on their variance from the Zoning Board of Appeals, this project meets all setbacks, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so our review again is limited based on definition. Okay, is there someone here on behalf of the applicant that wishes to speak?
Yes, I'm David Webster.
Okay, David. What's your address, David?
So I actually live at 707 Waverly Road, but
Okay.
I own the property at 46 Baldwin.
Okay, why don't you tell us a little bit about the project you're proposing?
Yep, so we purchased the property back in 2013 with the intent of putting my mother and my father in the property as sort of where they would reside and retire. Rented out the other side, which sort of offset the cost, and have lived there, renovated the whole structure. It was, when we bought it, it was in disrepair. We completely renovated it, in terms of aesthetics, I think improved that whole area. The two-family itself is on a really large lot. For that area, it's probably twice the size of the lot that you would typically find in the property. And then as time went on, my mother is less mobile. So the current unit is 3 floors. There's a lot of stairs in it. It's very difficult to get around. So when the opportunity to do an ADU came up and we thought about it, what we're trying to do is in the actual spirit of the ADU, which was why the ADU was created, create a residence that's 1 floor that will sort of serve as where, she'll live the rest of her life there, right? It'll give us the ability to set it up so if medical care is required at some point, that can all be handled there.
Is there parking for that? Will there be parking available for that unit?
Yeah, so the two-family we have has 4 spots, 2 on either side, and a 2-car garage. So the current two-family has 6 parking spots.
Okay.
And the ADU will have 2 in the garage and 2 in the driveway if
Oh,
necessary. Yeah.
Okay, all right, that's great. Where is the entrance to the ADU?
Yep, so the entrance will be coming right off of Baldwin. It'll merge into our existing driveway, so we're not gonna add any more driveway to Baldwin. And it'll sort of come in, go to the right, go to the two-family, and go to the left, and go to the ADU.
And so the ADU has a separate doorway, entryway than the,
Yes.
than the two-family?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay, and Gene, it's 900 square feet, which is our limit. You understand from what,
I
that
do.
you can't add living space in the basement or anything like that?
Yeah, it's
to
sort
the
of a shame with the ceiling height, not that we ever intended to put anything down there,
Yeah.
but Joe has a workshop, and it'll just make it a little more difficult to use the workshop,
Understood.
given his height, but
Okay.
we'll deal with that.
Any board member questions or comments, or does anyone want to see any of the materials? I can,
Plan or anything?
yeah. So it's a little bit harder with,
So just to elaborate, we're keeping, the ADU will complement the existing structure, so it won't look like 2 separate facilities, if any, or 2 separate buildings. In fact, it'll look like they sort of belong together there. And that's a crazy area I used to be part of the zoning board for the town. So that's an area where there's non-conforming structures on non-conforming lots sort of all over the place. What's interesting, if you look at the property on a map, is that where the ADU is going, the neighbor to the left, she's got an elongated lot where the house is on Marblehead Street, and the back of her lot is on Baldwin, where there's nothing there. Across the street is Grogan Field, so literally no one will be looking at it. And on the other side of the property to the left is that, I don't know if you've been down there, but it's like a dance school that looks like a World War II bunker. So it's not like it's aesthetically, I think it'll enhance the neighborhood.
keys for cars there too.
Yeah. Just one quick question. Could you walk us through just how utilities are being run to the ADU?
Yeah, so what's interesting is when the two-family has a paper street that goes to Marblehead, the other road. So we're going to take the utilities across the back of the lot and tie into the existing stuff coming down that paper street,
Okay.
going out to Marblehead. So we're not cutting in and disturbing Baldwin at all. It's all going out the back.
Okay. And then like electric, is that, are you undergrounding the
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, everything will be underground.
And is that running through the primary dwelling or is that coming from the street?
It's going to tie in at the corner of the primary dwelling.
Got it.
So we're not adding any more. Everything's going to that corner of the house, so you can sort of see it.
I put up the utility plan, yeah.
Right here is where it's all tying in.
Cool.
Anyone else? I'm good. Kate, anything? Peter, anything? Okay. All right, so this is a public hearing. We did have the one abutter comment, so why don't we read that into the record? Give me 1 second to do that. So we did have one abutter comment from, if I'm reading the handwriting correctly, it looks like Barbara King. It said, "Hi, attention planning department. I live at 46 Marblehead Street, North Andover. My name is Barbara King. I oppose the ADU for 44 to 46 Baldwin Street. There is no room for it. Very small area, too close to my property. Very condensed as is." Okay. Is she a tenant or a neighbor? Do we know?
So I'm trying to, so, She could be, it looks like that property is the one that her land spans from Marblehead, her lot spans from Marblehead to Baldwin. Her house is fronted on Marblehead. What's curious is the next property over had a similar piece of land, and when I was on the zoning board, we subdivided it and let them drop a house on the other side. So in terms of the distance of the ADU from her house, it's several hundred feet.
So, I mean, here's the thing, that is a condensed neighborhood.
Yeah.
I remember when we, redid when we rezoned the area to allow for the old convenience store to turn into a multifamily. There was some
Yeah.
questions about it. I think it actually has turned out nicely.
Yeah.
It is definitely a area where there are a lot of people, but it is kind of in the downtown area. And frankly, our abilities to regulate here are very limited based on the limited site plan review bylaw. And so as long as it's within setbacks, which it is, as long as it meets the criteria for the square footage, which it does, as long as it has proper utilities, it seems, and like you said, it's very much in the spirit of the ADU law of what the state is trying to get people to do. So we understand that it's tight, but one more person I think will be okay. All right.
Chair, can I just,
Yeah.
I assume prop stands for proposed. And is the proposed porch and the proposed patio, the proposed garage and the proposed driveway expansion are all part of this same project?
Yes.
And they're all because the ADU itself is 900, that interior square.
Correct, yes.
So there's other things going in
Yes.
as well.
Yeah.
No,
So that's why I included the decision, Kate, in the packet. So the garage doesn't count towards gross floor area, an open patio doesn't count towards it, and a driveway doesn't count towards it.
So, and that would be stuff that normally wouldn't come to us, right? It's not part of our decision, right? Like, if you were just building a garage or a patio or a porch, it wouldn't be a planning board issue.
As long as it was outside the
As long as,
watershed.
as long as, right, as long as it's outside the watershed, and if it didn't meet setbacks, then it would go to the,
CBA.
ZBA, right. So I mean, it's on the same thing, and they're gonna do it together, but
Okay.
it seems like they're actually separate projects in terms of one is by right, and one is pretty much by right, other than it's the ADU part.
Got it.
But yeah, good question. Okay, and again, it all meets setbacks, so, okay. So, is there any public comment for people here today in the audience? I see none. Okay, can I get a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, so you can have a seat, thank you. All right, we're gonna review the draft decision, and then we're gonna vote, okay?
So I just have one question about the draft decision. I don't know how you want to do it, Chair, about one part of it, but it's not, it's on page 4, so.
Yeah, I'll go.
Now, and Jean, I just am asking, so I'm on page 4, which hopefully is the same on everybody's version, and it's that little h, where we say incorporation of sustainability and resiliency principles, and then we say it's not applicable. I'm just wondering why that's not applicable to a 900 square foot building project. We can't hear you. You're muted.
Okay, sorry about that. Because limited site plan review can be different for the religious use and the education use and things. Specific to ADU, remember, we couldn't be more restrictive than we could be for a single-family home. As I took that in the spirit here, if somebody was building a single-family home, it wouldn't come before you, and it wouldn't be required to meet sustainability goals that a commercial project would. If you feel different and if you guys want to support a finding that it needs to have that, I'm certainly open to it. I just didn't think it was applicable to an ADU.
So why is it listed in the decision? Why is H there?
Because it's in the bylaw. And so I just stay consistent with the items that are detailed in the bylaw for limited site plan review. All of those A through H are in the bylaw.
As things to be considered when we're approving an ADU?
Not an ADU, limited site plan review, which is applicable to daycares and colleges and education, religion, now non-conforming pre-existing ADUs.
So we have to crosswalk this with what the residential requirements are.
Right, some of these things, so this limited site plan review bylaw covers things that can be really large. It could be Merrimack College building a dorm, or it could be an ADU. So sustainability would probably be something important that we'd want to consider, for a dorm project, but not necessarily for an ADU. We can, but it's not, so this is, because this is just in the limited site plan review but it's not under the ADU.
Maybe just one comment on page 3, number 7. Do you think it's appropriate to add the date on when the variance was granted?
I can.
Okay.
Sure.
So I also have a question, and based on the testimony
Go ahead.
tonight,
Yeah,
I would like to go back to my
yeah.
issue at one point.
Oh, yeah, so let's finish that. So,
Okay.
what, is there something you want done?
So the sustainability and resiliency, are we setting a precedent then that those will not be considered when we are considering ADUs?
I don't know that it's a precedent, but I'm hard pressed to think of a situation where, me personally, where I would think that sustainability is such an important part that I would want someone to make it part of the ADU. I mean, these are already expensive. They're already severely restricted. And so for me, we're encouraging housing and we're encouraging something affordable. Sustainability, while it's a laudable goal, I think that the housing aspect is more important for this, and I put sustainability more important if we're building commercial property. And I'd rather put it on a commercial rather than a residential to be have more import to me. So I think we can take it case by case. I just personally don't see where I would require anything in terms of sustainability and for an ADU.
Well, there's requiring and then there's encouraging or looking at it, or, I mean, whether we encourage a collection of rainwater or solar panels or, other things to be considered that would be in line with sustainability and resiliency
But again,
principles.
If someone was building their own single-family house, we would never require or do anything having to do with they have to have rain barrels or they have to compost or anything like that. I think sustainability is a great goal, but I think it's outside of the ADU. I think the state would say we're overstepping there for ADUs, would be my guess. So it could.
Do you agree with that, Jean?
yeah, that's why I put the non-applicable, but again, it's not for my decision. Like, if you guys feel differently, we can handle it any way you recommend. But I just don't think that either encouraging or mandating it through the ADU bylaw is necessary.
I mean, if someone wants to put solar panels on their ADU, wonderful. But I think that's too far for us.
Yeah, I think, given it's 900 square feet and the magnitude, I just don't think it's applicable, right? So,
It would be hard to see the situation where it was unless there were somehow, some sort of multiple things, or it was
Yeah.
a builder coming in and building 50 of them.
Sure,
Of some scale, but not for an individual
No, I
basis,
agree.
I would think.
Yeah.
But again, I think we can take it case by case. If there's ever a situation that, screams out for, hey, we can do something here, sure, we can we can talk about it. But I think for this project, it's not applicable.
In that case, maybe a developer somehow secures 10 lots and he's going to do 10 single-family homes and 10 ADUs, and that might change the dynamic of it, but
Right.
Yeah,
for one single one on Baldwin Street, I didn't think it was applicable.
sure.
Okay. Does that at least answer your question? Okay. So, and if you want to propose a change to the decision, we can do that. All right, Jean, you had a question.
Yep, so on number 12, and again, I got this plan somewhat late today, and listening to the testimony on the utilities, my understanding was they were going to come off of the primary, but now looking at the plan, I don't think the sewer does. And I question whether the water comes from the primary or if they're just going out to Marblehead Street. So,
Can we get an answer on that?
Yeah, so the lines coming to the primary is what we're going to tie into. Now, so we're not cutting extra things to the road. None of that's happening. So when you say goes to the primary, then I guess that's the definition of goes to the primary. It's not going to go inside the house, but it'll connect outside the primary.
will there be a water meter on the primary dwelling?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so I think it be left the way it's written. I just wanted to clarify that.
Yeah, great, okay. And Gene, we're generally not doing bonds for these, right?
No,
Okay, good.
we still require the as-built prior to CO.
Yep,
Typically, the bond comes, once we get the as-built, we release the bond, and so here I catch it before the CO.
okay. Okay, so any other changes? All right, can we get, so you made one amendment, Sean, right, to
Yeah,
add
just
the
adding the date to the variance.
Okay, any other proposed amendments? Okay, hearing none. Can we get a motion to approve the limited site plan review permit, accessory dwelling unit permit at 4446 Baldwin Street?
So moved and as amended?
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? No. Okay, that is approved. Thank you. And good luck.
Who was the second on that?
John,
Yeah, thank you.
thank you. Okay, 203 Turnpike Street, Andrew Keller, AC Development LLC, application for a special permit modification, site plan review under Article 8, Part 3. Revisions to approved site plans, Article 10, 195, 10.7, special permits of the North Andover zoning bylaw, and Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Section 9. The petitioner proposes installation of approximately 10,000 square feet of PV panels atop of approximately 12,000 square feet of carport roof area. The project is located within the Business 4 zoning district. All right, Jean?
Yep, so these two office buildings that are located directly across from Merrimack College were constructed prior to site plan review. However, one of the buildings came back in 1990 for an addition, and so I've recommended to modify that site plan, because that site plan does show this parking lot. And so technically, it's a modification to bring it to an existing site plan. The site is 5.31 acres, improved with a North Andover Medical Park consisting of two 4-story brick buildings that house various medical businesses and office use. The parcel is bounded by Andover Street, Turnpike Street, an existing wetland area to the south and west. The Conservation Administrator has confirmed that the project does not require a notice of intent. The site includes parking and access on each side of the building, with the majority of the parking in the rear where these carports are proposed. The fire department has requested some widths of certain access routes to be added to the plan, and they would also like clearly labeled rapid shutdown for the solar panels in case of emergency. The proposed project is to construct 3 separate carports with solar on the roof. The solar panels are considered rooftop solar energy systems and are allowed by right. A new electric utility line will be installed and connected to an existing pole with a new mounted transformer in coordination with National Grid. The installation of the carport and solar energy system is proposed to maintain the existing patterns of access, parking, and stormwater management. The stormwater management system consists of collection of stormwater runoff in catch basins with deep sumps and hooded outlets for treatment and to maintain existing peak flow of runoff and provide water quality treatment to the extent practical. An O&M plan is proposed for stormwater management, describes with various components of the system, identifies inspection and maintenance tasks, and provides a schedule to follow to ensure proper long-term performance of the system. Finally, a long-term pollution prevention plan is provided to prevent illicit discharges to the stormwater management system. Stormwater peer review has begun. There's been 2 peer review letters submitted. The first was responded to. The second only has 1 minor item that needs to be responded to. However, tonight, I hope to go over 3 items that have been deferred to the board. Conservation Police Department have confirmed no concerns. 1 support column is located at the edge of at the edge of a sewer easement, and DPW has requested that it be moved several feet outside the easement so that there is better access to the sewer if needed.
So, Gene, again, is this the one that's directly across from Burger King, closest to the?
No.
And there's, the parking lot in the back's really big. Is that where it's being built? I can't tell from
It's across
this.
from the bank.
So it's across from the former Bertucci's and Merrimack College.
Yeah.
So right at that intersection. And yes, I would say the rear parking lots, the one on the Andover side of the buildings.
Okay. And there's no carports there today.
No,
And the parking lots there are in really crappy shape, right?
They're
it's
pretty-
just, I would say, not necessarily delineated as well as other parking areas. I didn't visit the site before this meeting, so whether pavements deteriorated or whatnot, I can't speak to that, but I just think circulation, like I said, it didn't go through site plan review. I think circulation can be a bit challenging.
We have the applicant here, someone on behalf. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is John Rouse from Nobis. I'm representing Andrew Keller at AC Development. We're the civil engineers. Gene did a very good job explaining the project. I feel like she took a little bit of wind out of the sails here. But yes, the project is at 203 Turnpike Street at the corner of Andover Street. It's a medical office building, a couple of them, and there's existing parking in the rear, which the majority of the parking is, and we're proposing to put solar carports and, well, a carport with solar, photovoltaic panels on top of them. We're going to maintain the existing site in its condition, more or less. The traffic, the stormwater, the access, the parking. We're not going to be reducing any parking spaces. Columns will be put on line of the parking lines. One of the comments, like Gene mentioned, was to move one of the columns outside one of the easements. We've done that in a response. We moved it 9 feet outside the existing line, which was right on the easement line. The fire department did also require us to put together a truck turning plan, which we did. We used the largest truck that North Andover had and showed accessibility around the entire site. Actually, let me see if I can. See if I can pan down a little bit. Does this mouse work?
No,
No.
just be on the computer.
I thought there was a thing on the side here before. Oh,
You can go back to,
this is it?
that's the revised plan set, if you want to go back to other sets.
I don't know. I'll just go back to where we were just opening. Okay, here we go. Scroll down. I don't see like a scroll bar on the right here.
You might have to download it.
Ah,
That's just a website.
maybe open with. I'm usually using either Adobe or Bluebeam, a little bit easier. Anyways, we did provide that truck turning plan. We can provide, and I think the updated plan shows the widths of the access ways. We realized that the traffic and the loading and the traffic and the access for pedestrian parking is a little bit tricky for sure. But we're only just putting carports on the existing parking spaces. So with that minor modification, some of the other issues from the peer review from Horst and Whitley were some stormwater-related items. I think two of the biggest ones, what they mentioned a few times, was providing street sweeping, and we are amenable to that. So we can add that to the operation and the maintenance plan that could provide additional stormwater treatment. Like I said, we are providing an improvement to the site overall from a stormwater perspective. That we're adding eliminators or hooded outlets to minimize the TSS and oil leaving the site. As she's mentioned, the site does discharge to surrounding wetlands. That has been, we worked with Amy Maxner, I believe, and the Conservation Commission to verify those locations and, and work with her to show what treatment that we're providing on site. So I think we're meeting the town regulations there.
I guess the questions that I would have, first of all, I can't tell from what we've shown so far exactly where, in the overall parking, these structures are as opposed to where they're not. But getting back to my original question, is the parking lot's not in very good shape. If you put these things in, will you ever be able to pave the parking lot?
Of course, you can repay the parking lot. We don't believe that's in the purview of this scope, just adding those.
The
solar-
scope of what?
The scope of adding the solar panels and carport. Obviously, this is a
No,
green
but
project.
if you add the solar panels, how are you gonna pave it? That's my question. It needs to be paved.
So you can definitely pay, you can mill and overlay the payment if you needed to. But again, for this small, we're not doing the whole parking lot. We're only doing a small section of just certain parking spaces over them. So, we believe that burden seems excessive for redoing the whole parking lot for just
Well,
doing
no,
a small
I
area.
didn't necessarily, that's not the question I asked you. I asked a different question. I said that if you put these things in, can you repave that section of the parking lot?
Yes, you can.
How?
Well, it depends if you're doing full depth pavement or mill and overlay. So you'd scrape a section, they have to do some manual area under the parking spaces, but you can for sure pave that
Okay.
parking area.
And the delineation today of where the travel lanes are is not very good in that place, and I know people drive through empty parking spaces today. So that's what I'm wondering exactly where they are and how that's going to impact the right-of-way and how wide the right-of-way for travel is there.
So the right-of-way, are you referring to the cut-through between Andover Street and,
Well, in and out of the parking lot, if you go in and out of the parking lot, what's the path for, that you carved out? Because I can't tell how wide it is.
So as I understand it, John, they're not changing any of, so it looks like we have Turnpike Street to the top of the screen, right? So these are the backs of the buildings, and behind the buildings where they have these spots are already delineated, they're just putting these carports on top.
But see, the problem ends up being is, and this is what I can't tell, is I think this is, I assume this is one of the carports?
correct?
Yeah, okay. What's this from here to here? How wide is that?
Yeah, we can.
Because what people do today is they drive here. That's my question. And if you put up a structure there, are you gonna have, is this compliant? This space between here and here compliant? That's really the core of my question.
So that structure is going to be well above, obviously, the, pedestrian access. And again, we showed that a fire truck can get through that area. So,
But I asked you how wide the right-of-way is for driving when you put that up. That was my question.
yeah, we can add a dimension. I don't know off the top of my head. I can't scale it from just looking at it, but we can double check that.
So this is one of the carports,
Correct,
is this?
correct.
And then this?
Yep, 3, yep.
Okay. So what you could do, if you could add to the plans, the width of the drive here, same width, so where's the access? It goes around here?
Correct.
Okay, right, and as I understand it, this is one way going this way, this is one way, this is supposed to be one way. Again, if you could put the widths and also where arrows with where the traffic should go, that would be helpful
Yep,
for
I'm
us.
going to add the widths of the aisleways, for sure.
Yeah.
It looks like
here would be less than the width here. This structure appears to go beyond, so what is that width? Does this placement restrict or constrict movement because it gets narrow right there?
We can add in the liver, like I said, it will maintain the existing width
Okay.
in that for cars driving by.
Yeah, if we could get some clarity on that, that would be very helpful.
So, I have a couple questions.
Okay.
So with respect to like how so I guess the proposed carports, is the intent here to then feed whatever's collected from solar back to the main buildings?
To the grid.
To the grid, okay.
Yeah.
So, there's a couple questions. How are you planning to interconnect the proposed carports with solar?
So the solar will go to an inverter. Obviously, solar's a direct current, obviously. So
Yeah.
we have to convert that to AC, alternating current, before it connects to the pole.
Got it. So, but I guess are you planning to run conduits in between each carport? or-
Yeah, so there is conduits between each carport here with that dash line. That's a saw cut line.
Okay.
So it, runs down the column, and then a small trench to run them together, then up to this carport, and then it ties into the grid at this existing utility pole, the transformer.
Okay, so that existing utility, okay, so that pole still is there already, so you wouldn't be bringing another line in to connect to the carport?
Correct.
Got it.
Yeah, and that one will be overhead.
Okay.
Yeah, like the transformer's up on the pole. Yeah, yeah.
Why are you doing this project? What, is it intended for profit, or
So, I mean,
is there tenant demand for it, or?
Yeah, I mean, just they're going to get some incentives. They can lower some costs because they're going to be generating electricity on site. As you know, and with everything going on today, utilities are considerable. So this is a good green energy project that can be utilized for the benefit to all, for sure.
And the buildings are leased pretty much to capacity?
Correct.
And so some of the tenants will be parking under these carports, and some will be parking in regular places? Is that
Yeah,
how
so
it's
if there's
gonna
a
work?
space available, they can park under these carports, and if not, then not. We would have done more carport area, given the zoning requirements and the offset to the wetland. We worked with Amy to make sure we're outside the 100-foot buffer and didn't have any utilities, so, the cost for additional overhead carport area didn't weigh the benefit for the construction and for the design of the site.
And did I hear PVC or some kind of plastic carport cover is going
No,
on?
PV stands for photovoltaic.
Oh, for the panels.
Yeah, the panels
But-
are photovoltaic, yeah.
So what surface are they on top of?
It's like a coated glass panel, and so what that does is it obviously will collect sun. It'll be at a certain angle, so snow and rain and stuff will move off of it.
But how are they being held to the structure?
Oh, they'll be they'll be directly connected, built into onto the structure. So the carport will go up first, and then panels will be installed on top. So they won't be able to move. They'll be secured just like on a roof of a house or something like that.
But there's no roof?
No,
There's nothing under them?
No, we're building a structure that's basically just a roof with columns, and then we're putting the panels on top of those.
And what's the roof made out of? I guess I'm not being
So
clear.
that we haven't nailed down quite yet, but we're working to figure that out.
So how tall are they, these things?
Depending from the elevation of the ground, between 8 to 12 feet.
And if you haven't picked the material, can you give an example of what one looks like so we could see something similar?
Yes, we have some examples, but it hasn't been finalized, so we can submit that.
Like someplace else where there is some of these structures? Are they built somewhere else in
Yeah,
another
fine.
town?
We've done projects with this already, so.
So
yeah.
you could give us examples,
We can give you an example, yeah.
but not off your top of your head?
Well, I'm not going to draw the pit, yeah.
No, I mean, just so we could drive by another structure that's similar to what you're going to...
I'm doing one in Concord, New Hampshire right now, and in a much larger scale, and I'm permitting that as we're building a school there, so. That's a pretty good green project that's going to incorporate at the school.
So part of the reason I was asking about what the roof material would be is just wondering what the life of this carports would be.
Oh, understandable, yeah.
And so what's the life of?
That hasn't been selected. That's more of an architectural and, item. So like I said, I can, doing the site civil portion of this, we can coordinate and get back to you on it.
Are you planning to install standby batteries?
But we are not planning on any batteries on
Okay.
site, yeah.
And just curious, why not put the solar on top of the primary buildings?
That wasn't one of the options on
Okay.
the AC development proposal, so.
So for this one here, where's the access? How do you get to it? Looks like it's a double road, but there's nothing over here. Maybe I'm missing something.
So access is at the top, and it's a one-way going to the right. So when you're driving from the access way between the buildings, you come down and obviously would take a left, plan right, and then you park in those spaces and then continue to go that direction. And remember that solar carport area is above. There's a retaining wall that separates the upper portion of that parking area and the lower one. So the reason why we didn't put any below it actually would have been a good location, is because there's utilities, overhead wires that come across, but we're going to be utilizing that utility on the right to tie our system to.
That's actually where there's a driving school in that building, and that's where they do the road tests.
Is there any changes to the snow stockpiling based on this?
Snow storage has remained the same as the existing, and it's on to the left side of the site.
Okay.
We did get a comment from, they asked us to do a sketch to show where the snow storage is. They also asked us to point out the BMPs, the catch basins, so we can make that update.
Got it. And are you planning to install any, I don't know how pitched these are, are you planning to install any snow guards on top of the carports to prevent snow from discharging onto other cars or people?
So it's going to be pitched to the south, planned south, so that hasn't been investigated yet, but that's something that we could be open to.
Great.
Gene, what were the items that were deferred to the board that where there's things we haven't asked?
You might be muted, Jean.
Yeah, all right, so the first one is 4A on the most recent peer review letter, and this is speaking to the applicants proposed to add hooded outlets to the existing catch basins to improve the TSS removal. Horsley Witten recommended that the applicant confirm that the existing catch basins have 4-foot deep sumps. And the applicant has noted that catch basins require maintenance to confirm the depth of the sumps, and the planning board may choose to require confirmation of the catch basin cleaning as a condition of approval.
Okay.
All right, so the next one is 4C, and Horsley Witten recommended that the applicant include street sweeping on a routine schedule in compliance with, she cites the stormwater handbook.
Okay, and I think we heard about that. Okay.
Okay, and the last one is 7A. The project's considered a redevelopment, and the applicant is required to meet the standards to the maximum extent practical to improve existing conditions. Horsley Witten recommended that the applicant describe how it is improving existing conditions, and the applicant is improving existing conditions by adding hoods to existing catch basins and submitting a long-term O&M plan. Horsley Witten supports the installation of solar panels on the existing parking lot. However, it would appear that something more could be done to improve stormwater management of the parking lot runoff that is directed towards the adjacent resource area. Suggestions include regular sweeping of the parking lot, confirming and/or installing catch basins throughout the parcel that have 4-foot sumps, and/or removing excessive impervious surfaces in the southern corner of the lot. Horsley Witten defers further discussion of any improvements to the planning board.
Okay. All right, so there's still some back and forth to be done with the stormwater, correct, Gene?
Yes.
Okay.
There's one item that they have to respond to, and then those are the items that were deferred.
Okay, so we can get some responses to all those items, and the one that's outstanding, if we could get the measurements for the drive aisles and any width in between, really in between any of the carports and anything else, so carport to building, carport to road, carport to carport, that would be helpful. And then some photographs of what these might look like or other ones that you've been done. Does that summarize what we were looking for? I think that summarizes it. So if we could do that for our next meeting, that would be great.
Eitan, I just have one comment to add.
Yes,
So,
please.
John, you referred to the fire department and the swept path analysis. Their latest comments weren't specific to the swept path. There was specific width dimensions so that they can set up their ladder truck. And so just, if you haven't seen those comments, they're attached to the agenda as well. So if you take a look at that, I just want to make sure those dimensions get added as well.
Okay. All right, and our next meeting date is
April 28th.
April 28th. Okay, so this will be continued. Well, let me actually, this is a new public hearing. Any members of the public wish to make a comment? Gene, I don't think we've got any comment on this one, correct? From,
No.
okay, so we'll continue this until April 28th. Okay, wonderful, thank you, sir. Okay, continued public hearings, annual town meeting zoning bylaw amendment articles, accessory dwelling unit site plan review. Nothing new on our end, Gene, right?
Nope, they've been submitted for inclusion in the warrant.
Has any comment come into you in the last 2 weeks since we've been here last?
No.
Any public comment on those? Okay, those will be continued until April 28th. Okay, discussion item, Cypress Terrace, Steve Foster, Facilities Director and School District. In accordance with Article 8, Part 3, Site Plan Review, Section 195, 8.11D, North Andover School District is requesting a waiver of limited site plan review to allow for the relocation of 3,700 square foot modular classroom building from Kittredge School to the Franklin School and demolition of 2 existing temporary classroom structures. Please.
Okay, so the proposed relocated module addition is roughly equal in size to the combined area of the current area of the previously demolished units. And so there's 2 units proposed to be demolished, and there's one that's already been demolished. And so if you add up the square area of those units, they are approximately the same as the module units they want to relocate to the site. The bylaw waiver provision allows the planning board to grant a waiver if in their opinion, the alteration or reconstruction of an existing structure or a new structure or change in use will not have a significant impact both within the site and in relation to the adjacent properties and streets, on pedestrian vehicle traffic circulation, on public services and infrastructure, environmental and unique and historic resources, abutting properties and community needs. The planning board may determine without a public hearing that the submission of the site plan review application or limited site plan application is not required. So the applicant has requested in writing, which they must do, and it just needs to be discussed at a planning board hearing, so notice was not provided to abutters in this case.
Okay.
And is Steve there?
Yes, trying to get it to come up, but it's not really working very well. All right, sir.
Repurpose the Kittredge module at this location. So using an existing resource, taking down what is 2 remaining modular classroom units at Franklin. That 2, as Gene described, along with one that's been demolished already, equal a total square footage within about 200 or 300 square feet of what's there now. So you're basically, area-wise, the same. Existing utilities will not be impacted. We connect directly to what are existing water, sewer that are in the school. There'll be no additional traffic or parking created, need created here for this addition. And it's something that, if all goes forward here with town meeting approval and so forth, looking to do it this summer as part of the project.
What's the impetus behind doing this?
Well, it's repurposing an existing resource we have at Kittredge
which is not in use.
Correct. It's an abandoned building right now. However, the modular structure is reusable, so we're looking to repurpose it at this location.
So we think it's better, that unit is better than what we have at Franklin currently.
Yes.
Great, great.
Steve, how heavy a lift is it to move a modular? I'm just curious, it's not relevant to our decision.
It's a big crane, John, and what they do is, there's steel supports under them, and with special rigging, you would just hoist it up with a big crane, put it on a flatbed, duck under the wires, and bring it to the new location.
Is there a cost associated with this?
Yeah. Correct. It's on a capital improvement
Okay.
plan that's on the town meeting warrant.
That's why, okay. It seemed like,
And it will be attached to Franklin, or will it be a short distance?
There'll be, you'll call it a connector, short connector, like a 10-foot wide,
Yeah.
separately framed piece that will build to connect the modular to the existing Franklin building in the same location as where the modular is
Right.
now.
Yeah, okay.
okay. Seems like something that site plan review is not going to really help us with. So can we get a motion to approve the waiver of limited site plan review?
So moved. Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Great.
Thank you.
Go forth. All right, Brown's Court. Discuss Brown Court lot line adjustments and appropriateness of parcel access. We have Attorney Brian Vaughn. Gene, want to tell us what we're doing here? Muted again, Gene. You're out of
Sorry.
practice.
I know it. So Brian's going to speak to you. He'd like to receive the board's feedback regarding a proposed A&R plan ahead of filing for variance relief from the Zoning Board of Appeals. So there's a few variances that would be required for this project. And the A&R is a bit different, I would say, than A&Rs you've experienced recently. And so Brian and I discussed it would be helpful to kind of lay out the long-term plan for this development and talk about requirements of A&Rs.
Okay. Brian, if you're able to try to bring it up.
Hopefully I'll have better luck.
Yeah. Go back to the planning board there. Go up above. No, go, sorry. See, if you go, go back, oh, something. All right, yeah, we can click on the agenda, right? That'll work. That'll work.
Wait a minute.
I don't know why it's good. Let's get a zoom in. Yeah. Zoom out. Yeah.
That font is way too small for this. And this was never built, you said? Oh, I see.
All right.
All right,
Why
so-
don't you kind of give us a rundown of where this is, what's there now, what you're looking to do, and then how this all, why you're here for a pre-A&R plan.
Yeah, so, it's Brown Court, which if you're familiar where the Green Apple Cafe is, it's basically a small alley which cuts behind it. And there are, this plan that's up here now shows what the existing 3 lots are. On here, I guess it's parcel AB, and I don't know if that's C, the last one. And this was an A&R plan which the planning board had approved, I think it was 1982, to divide what was then, I believe, a single lot into these 3 lots. And there were pre-existing structures which I believe predated subdivision. But if you look at the plan, you can see there was 60-odd feet of frontage on the first 2 lots and close to 40 feet of frontage they showed on on Brown Court on the last lot. So
Is Brown Court a public way?
to be honest, I'm not sure if it's private. It's definitely not accepted.
And how wide is the right of way?
It's very narrow at parts, probably maybe 10 feet. It widens out further towards the end of it.
And right now there are what, 4 houses there?
So
3 houses and a.
The ones on the front, I think
yeah, the
goes out to the street.
the I just wanted to start with this plan just because this one just best depicts what the current lotting is. And I guess it's parcel A and B, those structures are still there. The last parcel, is it? Yes, exactly, John. So originally, the client here, by the way, is Centro de Apoyo. It's Bread and Roses. Bread and Roses bought this last lot, and they, subsequent to purchasing it, they were acquired by Centro de Apoyo, which is also a nonprofit entity, and they're putting in affordable housing. So they got approvals through the zoning board for this last lot to raise the existing structure and replace it with a two-family, which is going to be both sides affordable.
Which one are you talking, parcel
The-
C?
Yep.
Here?
Yep.
Okay, yep.
Okay. So after they had acquired this, they had the opportunity to then purchase the other 2 lots, which they've done. So they now own all 3. And notwithstanding the approvals they got for the last lot, when they were looking at it holistically now, they thought that they could really do a better job of redeveloping the site if they were to adjust the lot lines to try to move the structures further apart, and put in, I think, a better product as opposed to trying to fit, lot-specific, structure-specific buildings into the first 2 lots. So I'm going to show you, I guess.
You can just hit the X if you want to go to a different thing.
Which one?
See it on the top,
Oh, got you right there,
Yeah.
yep, okay.
and then you just double click.
So, I just started with that prior plan rather than this one, because you can see there's a lot going on here. And
Where's Water Street?
so, Water Street is down in
It was on
this
the other side
area.
of the other one, right?
Right.
But
and-
on the other plan, it was the other side, right?
Right,
It's
right.
rotated.
Yeah, I'm just getting my bearings, okay, thank
Yeah.
you, yeah.
So what they're proposing to do, and you can see, like, right under here is the underlay of where the prior structures were. So what they're proposing to do is kind of widen all 3 of these lots so that it gives them a little bit more room. They're still gonna need relief from the zoning board to get some variances for all of them. But they think by widening the lots, it gives them a little bit more room to put in a better product, and it's, consistent with a home that they typically build. It's I can show you plans of that separately if you want to see it. I believe it's the same home that they already had approved for the last lot at the end by the zoning board. My understanding, and I should mention also that with me tonight is Yacaude Mello, who's the Director of Real Estate for Centro de Apoyo, as well as Joe Levis, Senior and Junior, who are contractors working on the project. So I understand that they've already reviewed the plans with, let me just check with Joe, was it,
first lot they purchased, we had to go through zoning, we had to go through machine shop and historical. And they made some modifications to the plan itself. And,
Do you want to
Yeah,
click, Joe?
So, I mean, in essence, are you replacing 3 houses with 3 houses?
Yeah.
So,
Okay, so that sounds great.
Right.
They're further spaced apart than they are now. They're newer houses, they're better. So that all sounds awesome. I would love to hear how this somehow meets the criteria for an A and R, because
So-
I can't understand how you have frontage.
so,
Well, my question is, the
70
third one,
70
where's the
feet?
frontage?
Well, either, they all need 70 feet, right?
Well, I mean, you got that, how do you wrap a pre-existing non-conforming use into this? I think is kind of like,
So I'd
so I
love to
guess
talk about
it-
A and Rs and then what else we can do if that doesn't
Right.
work.
yeah.
so, yeah, and exactly, right, you know, on the one hand. So I do think there is a path forward with A and R.
Okay.
It would require, I guess, is 2 things. These, let me just show you, when we look at these first 2 lots, under 81L, there's an exemption for lots upon which there was a structure which predated subdivision and is still standing. And so on both of these first 2 lots, I believe that that's still the case. And in fact, when I was looking at this, I think the planning board in 1982 already approved an A&R for this, and I think that that was likely the basis on which the planning board did it in 1982. Just a guess, but they already approved an A&R plan here previously on this same frontage.
Was that when the houses were built?
The houses that are there are, I mean, we can get you an exact
probably early
date,
1900s.
but they're probably
Okay,
built in
so
the 1900s.
probably what happened is
Right.
the A and R just justified the fact that there were houses there, I mean.
Well,
because-
right, except that the definition of subdivision under 81L has a specific exemption in it for, and you know, I have language right here, I might as well just read it. So, conveyances or other instruments adding to, taking away, or changing the size or shape of lots in such a manner as not to leave any lot so affected. Hold on a second.
Well, hold on, let's start at the beginning. Every lot within tract, so A and R, so divided, has it doesn't, shall not be deemed to constitute a subdivision within the meaning of the subdivision control law if at the time when it is made, every lot, so it says every lot, so we gotta be clear on that, within the tract, so divided has frontage on a public way or a way which the clerk or city of town certifies to maintain and use as a public way. So we don't have that, right?
Right.
Okay, so we don't have A. A way shown on a plan thereto, therefore to approved and endorsed in accordance with subdivision control. We don't have that.
No.
A way in existence when the subdivision and control law became effective in the city or town, having in the opinion of the planning board sufficient width, grade, et cetera, to provide for the needs of traffic.
So
Is
I
that
think
the-
you arguably could qualify under that, but it would require a determination as to the adequacy of the way, because I believe Brown's Court, which is essentially an alley, existed at the time when these were constructed. However, there's still a problem there because of the actual length of the frontage that you have
Right.
wouldn't be compliant. So I think if you
Such
could,
frontage shall be at least of such distance as then required by zoning.
right.
Okay,
So I think if you come down to the very end, though, of 81L, where it says, the division of a tract of land on which 2 or more buildings were standing when the subdivision control law went into effect in the city or town in which the land lies into separate lots, on each of which one of such buildings remains standing, shall not constitute a subdivision. So I think it's under that last qualification that it can be deemed to be exempted from a subdivision and you could endorse it. Now, the one caveat there is that I think that that would work as to the first 2 lots. The issue would be on the last lot. I mentioned that they had already obtained approvals to redevelop that lot. They've since raised that building, so that last structure is no longer standing, so therefore, that third lot wouldn't necessarily qualify there. However, if you had wanted to approve this through an A&R plan, I think you still could, but it would then require, under the determination with respect to ways, you're into that third caveat that Eitan just mentioned, you'd have to find that there was an adequate way. And the second thing that you'd have to consider, and I'm just going to show you with a, you know, when you look on right here, you come to the end of Brown Court. This Garden Street extension is somewhat of I guess, a paper road. It hadn't been built. However, if you see these, there's a dashed line over here, and the pavement has been extended down here into Garden Street extension to about this point. So the engineer, when he did his analysis, considered the frontage on this lot, considering the Garden Street extension down to here. If you consider the pavement down to here and consider that as, you know, adequate access to the lot, you could potentially, I think, approve it as an A&R plan.
So, good.
So I'm confused. Are you changing the lot lines of all 3 lots?
Yes, because
So like, how much are you moving each one? And, because it looks like the last one, my take was, I don't know, you're making that smaller and.
yeah,
adding
so
back to
the
other
last
2?
one that we're making smaller, right, I think it's right about here was the existing lot line. So we're adding about, I think it's about 20 feet here, and then adding about, I think 20 feet was, I think they were going from, well, let me look at the,
Basically, what we're doing is trying to make all the lots about the same size, square
Right.
footage and frontage.
So,
The last lot that we took the house down was twice the size of square footage and frontage. The other 2 are very tiny, and we're just trying to make the street a better street. These are the worst 3 houses probably that the town has.
so dumb question, I guess. Why not go through subdivision?
well,
With waivers, I mean, you'd need waivers, obviously. But if it, I mean, this is, I will give you super points for creativity, but, I mean, it's hard for me because it seems like a really good idea and a much better use of these buildings, and it's for affordable housing. Like, all these things are great. I just don't know that it's legal. It really doesn't seem like it meets the definition. So, I mean, Gene, couldn't they go through subdivision and then we provide waivers?
They could, that's an option.
Am I missing something, John, about?
No, well, one of my questions a little bit is I'm thinking this paper street. Have you ever considered developing it?
so I guess to answer the question, why would we go this way as opposed to subdivision? It's really, it's a small project with a nonprofit that we're really trying to be cost conscious. And so that's one thing, but that also plays into, I think, in terms of developing that extension of Garden Street extension, that probably adds a substantial amount of cost to the project that a project this small might not really absorb well, in addition to the fact that I think that, you know, there's a bunch of abutters there that
That's basically the yard.
their yard, basically, and, you know.
Okay,
and so,
I mean, I'm just sort of thinking out of the
Yeah.
box, because, I mean, my sort of first inclination looking at this idea was, you know, you're doing 3 duplexes, right?
3 duplexes,
So
all
that's
the same.
6.
yeah.
It's almost like this is a perfect place for townhouses. You will get more than 6, but the problem is you still have the same access issues regardless, right?
Right.
I mean, like, how far are the lots from front to back?
Should be on, show you.
I got it right here.
About 90 feet front to back.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, have you ever looked at maybe making the right-of-way an extra 10 feet and shrinking the lot size?
I don't think, you're saying expand.
I'm thinking out of the box about sufficient way the construction. 10 foot is a stretch, like almost, it's hard, no matter how aggressive
think-
you are to get over that. But if you made it 20 feet, maybe that's a little bit different story.
Right, but I think that, I think it's almost physically impossible
What's
to
that?
do that because of when you're coming down where Green Apple is, there's a structure on your right-hand side where you're really gonna be kind of limited to a pinch point of about that. Is that
There
right,
is.
Joe?
Yes, correct.
Oh, I see, at the corner.
Yeah.
At the corner's the problem, yeah.
So I think, you know, you could absolutely, you know, expand it a little bit, provide some width, you know, and their plan, in fact, actually substantially does improve the access because they're looking to expand the pavement at the end, create, you know, a little bit more of a turnaround space and improve the area within Garden Street Extension.
So if I understand that the reason you're bringing this in front of us is because you're considering submitting a proposed,
So we were considering, you know, it's going to require relief from zoning board as well as planning board, whether it's by way of a subdivision with everything under the sun being waived, or whether it's by way of a subdivision with, excuse me, an A&R plan, if you were to consider that alternative. But in either case also, I think we were hoping to get some sense as to how it would be received, likelihood to approve either, just because before we would even proceed with seeking the variances or a subdivision, you know, the alternative 3 is not to change the lot lines, to continue with the
The existing 2
the
structures.
existing 2 structures, and then develop an alternative building proposal on the first 2 lots without changing the lots.
Well, it'd be unfortunate if we became the roadblock to what seems like a very good project.
I know, and that's what I'm struggling with, is that it seems very well intentioned. It seems like a good idea to replace bad old buildings with new good buildings. But at the same time, I don't think it meets the definitions under the law for an A&R. And I think there's 2 problems with that. 1, I don't want to approve something that's not legal. And 2, if we do approve it and then someone challenges it later down the line, then you're in big trouble because now you built and it's,
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, if they were building right around the turn of the century, didn't matter that it was only 10-foot access because there were no cars. So, you know, the world's different now. There are cars now. I'm kind of thinking there's got to be a way. One of the problems, I see your problem is it's the lot at the corner because that is your access into it. You can't make it
Right.
any wider because you don't own the property at the corner.
Right. And again, I believe there is there's an existing structure there. I'm not sure if it was a garage or something on the opposite
It's a little
side.
It's a
So
little
here-
family ranch
A little-
behind the Green
okay.
Apple.
here's what I would say. I mean, if you think that there is a legal argument that this would meet the legal requirements of an A&R, and present the data about, I would say, Gene, correct me, tell me if you think this is a bad idea, but I would say get the, how old the houses are, when the road was built, was sufficient, present that to our legal counsel, and if she signs off on it, that it meets it, then fine. I'm personally skeptical, but if you can provide that information, fine. I like the idea, I like the project, I'd be more comfortable with it as a subdivision. That's my personal, I don't know.
You know, the problem is you can't make a subdivision because you only got 10 feet of right
Well,
of way.
can you waive it? I mean, what can you waive?
I mean, technically, I suppose you could, but would you want to?
I don't know, people are already going in and out of it right now, driving there,
Well,
right?
I mean, practically speaking,
Right.
yeah.
I mean, maybe through that process, we could find some other ways to make it get better, or there could be, requirements of only one car, I don't know, there are things we could do,
Yeah.
at least under subdivision, to make it more palatable while still trying to
I mean,
approve it.
even something like the problem is 10 feet is not sufficient frontage back out to the street to get into it. I mean, that,
Yeah, it's challenging.
yeah.
Is
yeah.
it 10 feet?
By the way, it may be a little,
I think it's
maybe,
more than 10.
maybe
Yeah, whatever the numbers are.
more, but
To me,
It does widen as you go up.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd say present it to town council, and if we get something that says it meets it, I'm skeptical, but otherwise, I think for me, speaking personally, I'm supportive of this idea. And I think we try to work with you to see if we can make it happen. That's my take.
And just directly to town council and not through the board, and then the board requesting town council's opinion on it. The whole discussion tonight has been very interesting, but we haven't seen any layout of what the legal arguments would be with citations and that kind of thing, right?
Correct.
We've got very well-educated, long-term members of the board who can cite some of that off the top of their heads, but it would be, so I don't know. I mean, is it appropriate for an applicant to go directly to town council?
Well, what would happen is they can submit it to Jean, and she can bring it to town council. Or they could file it, but once they file it, there's like a clock. And so, I think it's better for town council to have time to review it, and if she has questions and things like that. So I actually I worked on one of these, maybe, it's 12 years ago in Beverly, and it wound up being actually appropriate for an A&R because we were able to find that it went back to a plan from like 1920, and there was a paper road there that made it so that it worked. But it's a lot of factual digging that needs to be done, and that's not going to be, we can't do that here. Like, that needs to be done before and then kind of brought to us so that we can review it. But it's not something that we can, there's a lot of
in the
homework.
alternative of the A&R, I guess like kind of the litmus test, would you guys say you would be willing to entertain maybe some considerable waivers, knowing that this is, it's an existing condition that already services the existing lots as far as the portions of Brown Court where we are limited by width, or?
Do anyone have feelings on that? Comment? I mean, I would be, because I think so I think there's a difference between building a new subdivision from like take a single-family house, you're knocking it down and you're putting 4 units in, right?
Right.
Then we want it to be new, you're making a profit on it, we want it to make sure it has all the right roadways. Here, you're really just making 3 houses that are already there into 3 houses that are better. So to me, there's and for affordable housing with affordable housing restrictions and stuff like that.
Right.
To me, there's a compelling story to be told there and reason to do that. So I think it's compelling. I mean, obviously, we can't vote on anything and decide anything before actually seeing it, but I think,
I agree with that sentiment.
I think it would be something that the board would want to work with you to try to come up with some solutions. We just obviously can't guarantee anything.
Yeah, I'm aligned there. I guess, but my only, I guess, legal question would be, if we do the subdivision route, I guess, could you traverse over an existing right-of-way that hasn't been improved? Like, I don't, so like, in other words, is that like, I mean, obviously, like in this proposed plan, if this was under subdivision, like there's a roadway easement that's pretty narrow, right? So like, but you obviously trying to,
So basically subdivision has rules and you have to meet the current rules and it would say like you have to be a 25-foot roadway.
Okay.
But we could, you can, and we have in the past, waive that to a certain extent and say, okay, we waive it down to the size of a driveway or we waive it down to 17 feet or something like that. You can waive some of your regulations as you see fit, as long as it's
I
suitable.
think
We'd have to be careful.
a little bit, the nuance here is that in all the cases in the past where we waived it, they could demonstrate they could build it conventionally. Here you can't.
Yep.
I mean, that,
Yeah.
because of the history, so it becomes a little bit more challenging.
Yeah, I mean, it's a challenging parcel
Yeah.
to do what you're suggesting. It's very laudable, but it's challenging. So
Yeah.
we don't want to get in the way, but at the same time,
I
we have
understand.
rules we need to follow.
Just one quick question. They're actually the applicant, they're a land trust, they maintain ownership of the land. Does it make sense, or is it possible just to combine all of the lots into one and just put the 3 houses on? 'Cause they don't sell the land, they maintain ownership of the land. Does that
Well, I
solve
was
it?
thinking of some variant of that, but I think you still have the same problem.
Well, then you have one lot, you're getting rid of lot lines
Correct.
instead.
Yeah, you come up with other potential issues in terms of number of structures that you can have on a lot.
Yeah, that's a good point.
You would then probably be having to approve it as a multi-tenanted building, which, you know, their program that they're using is, you know, it's like the duplex piece of it kind of
Right, and
matters
the whole
under that.
idea is not townhouses, it's more
Right.
duplex or single families.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just a different product than they typically build. And when you start getting into larger multi-tenanted buildings, there's all different kinds of costs with fire safety, other things. And so,
Yeah, over 2 units, you have to go with a sprinkler system, another expense. And it just, with the duplex that we've been building for them, there's adequate parking, there's yards, there's frontage, there's front porches.
I think the duplex also fits better into
It
that
does.
neighborhood.
And we've already gone through all the departments, and we made adjustments with the historical and machine shop.
Yeah, I would suggest the subdivision route, to see if you can, I would say, that's my suggestion, see if you can make that fly, but you're welcome to work with Gene, do the research, and see if you think you can make a compelling argument that it meets the legal edition of A&R. So that's kind of, I think, the advice we can give. Okay?
yep, fair
Okay.
enough. We appreciate
Yeah.
your time.
And we appreciate what you guys are doing. I mean, these are really, it's funny because there's 3 houses, and some people might be like, well, how much difference can 3 houses make? But those 3 houses are like the toughest houses to turn over, and those are the ones that can really be used for affordable housing, and for like the 6 families that live there, it makes a really big difference. So we appreciate it. We're just trying to follow the rules where we
Okay.
can.
Thank you.
Okay? All right. Okay, planning board report. We don't need to do anything with planning board report, right, Gene?
Nope.
Okay.
Again, it's been submitted to the manager's office
Okay.
and for inclusion in the warrant.
Motion to approve the meeting minutes from March 17th? All in favor? Aye. Okay, anything else? Gene, you're back here for the 28th? This was challenging.
I'll be back by then.
Okay. Motion to adjourn.
Second?
All in favor? Aye. We are adjourned.